Welcome back to the Quake Pro League. Well, we're now moving into our fifth game of the night. Harry, DUEL versus Sib. Obviously, both of these American All-Stars, quite different in their play styles and their approach to Quake.
Definitely. We know what DUEL can be like. He can be very passive, very defensive. He likes to wait for the first mistake to happen, like some of the other players like Base and Dramus, etc. But Sib, since he's been in the Pro League, he's eased himself in quite nicely. There's been a few close games against some of the top players, some haven't been. It's been very situational depending on how he's actually been playing that day. But so far, so good. He's eased into it quite well. He seems to be very aggressive. He seems to be able to catch the opponents off guard quite a lot. He seems to be able to change his style whenever necessary. And you can see maybe from back in stage 2 when he was doing the challenges, etc., he was doing his absolute best to make sure that he's fixed, ready, and prepared. And he seems like he's more than prepared. He's been doing quite well all stage.
Oh, he definitely has. He definitely has. Let's see then if the veto will potentially swing how we think this series is going to go, as we can step in to get this one under the magnifying glass a little bit with DUEL versus Sib here. It seems like Vale going to be starting us off. We've had a lot of interesting Vale games tonight, and already it seems to be another one in store for us. A clutch coming out for Sib, which is basically his, that's his spirit animal, Harry, if I'm honest with you. And then we have the keel for DUEL.
I'm a bit curious about the map picks. Now, for example, you see like with not Effortless, with DUEL, he's very good on Molten and Blood Covenant. Blood Covenant was banned by Sib straight away. That's completely understandable. But according from what I've seen in previous matches, DUEL is normally actually better at Molten Falls than he is on Awoken. But instead, he's decided to go for Awoken anyway. Maybe because the last few times Sib has played Molten Falls, he's actually been playing really, really well. And the thing is, though, it was more to the case of pick your poison, really, where his best maps probably aren't Awoken and Molten Falls, but he probably realizes that Awoken it might be a little bit easier for DUEL to try and at least get some kind of advantage. But look at the champion picks, though, Jackie. Definitely not to what you normally see, especially on the first map, Vale.
No. Definitely very far from the norm in what we would expect to have coming out of them. A little bit normality the later this series does go on. Corrupted Keep. I'd actually expect to see those flipped, honestly, with the Ranger coming through for DUEL and Sib having the Anarchy, but it's the other way around today. And then finally on Awoken to range it out, Athena versus Strog and Pika. That one's not too surprising. DUEL's always been a bit of a fan of the Athena, and Sib, he likes those fast champions. He enjoys a crouch slide. Any of the movement-based heroes have always been his forte.
Yeah, we've seen Ison banned for a couple of matches now. This time he's been banned on Corrupted Keep. Last time he's banned on, I think it was Vale, which is, again, very common. You see that champion a lot on maps like Corrupted Keep. You see it now and again on Awoken, but normally, I suppose, at higher level Quake, you see more the mobility than you would, obviously, cost the turret. But yeah, you see him banned on Corrupted Keep this time around, which is understandable to say the least. He can be a little bit of a pain in the backside in terms of how you want to try and approach him. But we've even seen him used on Ruins sometimes, which is a little bit balmy one way or another. But how this matchup's going to go, it's entirely how DUEL plays, but it's more about how Sib is going to retaliate to certain scenarios he places himself in, depending on where DUEL actually goes in this first map.
Well, let's find out then, as it seems like we are ready to get underway. Kicking us off here on Vale, Sib. He's on the clutch. The big robot boy, DUEL, is coming through with Keel, as we will kick this series off. Already, there is rockets flying all over the gap, as there is damage going out every which way. DUEL, from point blank, trying to get the shots off with a super shotgun, leaving Sib with an inch of his life. He has been knocked down incredibly low, and those pineapples are flying high.
Sib made the right play of pushing in then. It's just a shame that when he went through the portal, his back was turned. So it gave DUEL all the time in the world to get anything going in terms of damage. But look at that, though. Sib got that first rail off. Just a little bit of chip to make matters worse. But what a beautiful rocket there you saw there from DUEL. I think Annie expected him to just do a little bit to keep him off the Mega. But to get the direct one, he's going to take that every day of the week as he gets another dirty rail. But it's definitely keeping Sib on his toes here, because the position DUEL's in now, even though he's quite a big champion, clutch with the stack he can gather is ridiculous. So he needs to really be careful not to get too close at the wrong times.
Ooh. Talking of which, this could be one of those occasions A very interesting bit of a fight there between the both of them as they were up close and personal, fighting tooth and nail and barely scraping through. What on earth is going on here as well? Sib jumps himself forward, leaping into action there as he takes down DUEL, both of them incredibly low, Harry. They had a sliver of HP between them both, but he was willing to fight confidently enough to be able to overthrow him. And again, kills the Keel.
Best way to explain it is he should not have got out of that situation. Even though he had the better weaponry, considering his health stack, there was no way he could have got out of it. But, you know, just making matters worse, it's definitely going to downsize the confidence that DUEL has here, as he's expecting to play quite passive with his active ability. But looks like Sib's going to push in, but doesn't make the right move, as the LG was good, but DUEL's was just a little bit better. But look at this spawn from Sib. He's got the LG, pushed in straight away, but decided to back off, knowing that he can pick up that heavy. And he's going to come through, won't get the chance to get the Mega 2, but at least he managed to contest it as much as he can. So DUEL managed to come back from what we've seen so far, and it's now tied things up.
Both of them were 2 kills each. A good spot to be in for the game this far. DUEL playing it slow, was hoping to get the drop onto Sib there as he came around the corner, and he's definitely done so. Every shot, every inch of what he whipped out into that fight worked flamboyantly for him. He's slain the big robot, and he's going to have to back off for a bit of a firmware update before he comes back in again for another pop at it. Is incredibly pushed back there, terrified with the idea of the pineapples flying through the sky towards him. And DUEL, it's the same play once again, Harry, but I think Sib's got his number.
Firmware update, I think that's literally barcoded into my brain since you said that. But it looks like we're back to the normal game, which we expected from the start. So DUEL managed to get the first shot off, decides to back away. He hasn't really got the stamina needed. Sib is going to take the risk anyway, and DUEL patiently, with a lot of discipline, waits for Sib to come through, and he does, but comes through again just to try and get the Mega. He's got it, so Sib is definitely on the right course to try and at least make some kind of push. But you got to remember, Sib hasn't got the weaponry to do it at this point in time.
Here come the fireworks.
Rails whizzing by, but it's more the pineapples will be the punctual point to try and force him back. DUEL with the timing. Should get the heavy. Yeah, gets away with it for free. I was worried that maybe Sib would be able to sniff him out and at least get a rail gun shot off. I was going to do a bit more damage, but instead it went pretty flawlessly. This isn't ideal whatsoever, though. He might have been able to knock Sib a little bit further in towards that Mega, but he still buffs out all the damage that was just done to him from DUEL. Here comes the overcommit as he turns the corner. He takes a rocket straight towards the face, and it's not a great position to be in.
Saw from there with the portal control, DUEL always stands in front of the portal, doesn't really go on that heavy side and waits for them, as what most players normally do. Sib has realised that, it's built into his muscle memory and knows exactly what he's up against. So he knows DUEL's rotations, but he can't really give away this frag, and he does. 3 frags now between both of these players, and Sib needs to be careful on his next actions here, as he tries to get a little bit done by trying to go for the rail, but DUEL's done so much work and so much damage. He's going to try and get that last rail off to finish him, but isn't to be, as for now he will back away and keep that height control.
5-minute warning.
Playing around the elevated angle. See if this will be beneficial for him. Ooh. Some cheeky little angles there being taken. None of them going to work out too well for him to get the shots actually across. DUEL, again, goes on the offensive here. So much damage done against Sib, and he will blow him to high hell once more. Take him out of the server another time tonight. Further committing to go in aggressively off the back of those pineapples. And a mass lead established here, Harry. Incredibly far ahead. There's still 5 minutes to go into this game.
You can see now DUEL's just trying to set up little traps here and there. But I love what he does there. Every single time Sib goes for that Mega, he stands in a slightly off-key position just to at least get one rail, at least a bit of chip damage off, so it makes it look like in the end the Mega's not even worth going for, as he does get another rail, gets a second one, and he will not be looking for that third as he decides to maybe go for the rotate instead, but might actually catch him here. This could be a great play from DUEL, and yes it is. Fantastic game sense from him.
shreds him down there with the LG. Ooh. Gets to reposition off with the rail as well to find a further follow-up tag. He's confident with his super shotgun. He has been the entire time. The pineapples have also been quite helpful as he spams them out, hoping to effectively have a grenade launcher in his arsenal there. And he will again be able to slay Sib. Clutch. Not being able to clutch this one out in today's game, it seems. If it carries on in this fashion, there physically won't be enough time left for this big robot to get over the finish line.
Definitely not wrong there, as DUEL just creating a huge amount of trouble here for Sib. Even when he's at the advantage in terms of stack, it's just faking so well to let him think that he actually has the advantage when he doesn't. But DUEL now isn't on the best of stacks, as we can see, but he's still 6 frags ahead. He's very good, just like Dramus, at getting away, listening out for those cues, making sure that he doesn't get caught off guard. But as I say that, Sib caught him off guard nicely there, but instead he could actually get taken down. And he does. Sib left on 10 HP. Gets to heavy, and this could be his first opportunity to not just gain full map control, but to at least try and come back. But as I say that, DUEL comes back anyway and increases lead to 9-3. But Sib is just trying to do everything he can, but he just literally can't at this point in time.
Man, it doesn't matter if it's the super shotgun or the starter shotgun. If it's a shotgun in his hand, DUEL is going to be leaving you slaughtered. Oh no! This is a messy one. Sib was on 1 HP. He's been able to get away. How is he even alive? And the railgun of all weapons is what DUEL takes into that firefight, clearing a very unorthodox angle and still taking the man down. DUEL looks unstoppable right now, Harry.
Yeah, that last rail was literally must have demotivated him so much throughout the course of this map number 1. But there's nothing much Sib can do here. Don't get on the clutch, it can be very aggressive, has the stack necessary, but it's not going to be enough to get 7 frags in 90 seconds. But we'll see what we could do here anyway. So he wants to do, but it looks like DUEL will be baiting out heavy, but it's not going to help him anymore. He hasn't got the stack, but he isn't going to take the fight either, so he's going to have to waste more time. I think Sib knows it's just a little bit too late here, as he's just going to try and play for a few frags here and there he can get, but does have the Mega now to try and maybe make something happen, but it looks unlikely as we've got a minute left on the clock.
Yeah, time ticking away, and it's really not a great position to be in for him. Everything that could have gone wrong so far has done. Now, super shotgun in hand. Charges in, gets a tag off short. It's not going to be a frag. And ooh, even then, it's not going to work out very well at all whatsoever. He has been put to bed, laid to rest, and in the final 30 seconds, it's just a matter of can DUEL get himself any more frags to take through, just as a bit of a confidence booster going forward.
Yeah, he should be really happy with his performance. 12-4 on the map like Vale. It can be very difficult, especially against a clutch where you've seen Sib before, like how aggressive he can be, and it can put yourself in an unpleasant situation. He's managed to control that perfectly fine. The only problem was just the fact that every time, if it went the other way round, where Sib went through the portals but made the 50-50 guess, he would have been fine. But he made the unorthodox play every single time, but didn't really build it into his muscle memory until the later stages of that game. So that will be map number 1 over. DUEL will win the first game. And look at that, an 8 frag difference and 2100 damage difference compared to both of these players. That's madness.
That is quite disgusting when you think about it. The fact it's nearly 6,000 to 4,000 in the overall damage. That is just absolutely bizarre that it's gone down like that. DUEL proving a point into that one, Harry, playing absolutely lights out the entire time. Meanwhile, Sib, he had a first-class ticket on the struggle bus.
He definitely was. He must have rode that bus for a long time. I hope he doesn't ride it toward the end of his series. That's from what you saw from there. He was doing the right things with clutch. It was just a 50-50 guesses in terms of where it could be for the portals. Some people may say that's too high risk. Should have just left it. Should have just gone for the light and health orb and just maybe thanked and made another rotation. But he just wanted to show the aggression. He just wanted to try and put as much pressure on DUEL as possible. But you saw from there, it was just way too much work. And DUEL was just sitting there with a super shotgun every single time. Patient, well-disciplined, played it slow. But this could be more Sib's kind of map, so we'll have to see what DUEL can do.
It could be. It could be. The only thing that for me feels a little bit out of character is the fact that when you look at it and you see, as I said earlier, these two champions in play, you'd imagine that Dewey would be the one on the Ranger and Anarchy would be the Sib, but that's just not the case. Obviously, it's completely flipped going into this series. It's a bit of a curious one for me, Harry. Corrupted Keep at the best of times is a map that definitely really tests every aspect of your Quake gameplay. So at the very least, we're going to have a nice matchup here.
It's just a matter of who can get the first frag, who can resettle, restack, and keep composure. But the main thing is keeping on that spawn pressure. Know exactly where they're going to be in one of 2 or 3 places and put yourself in the most middle ground to make sure that you can at least stabilize afterwards. It takes a lot of memory crop to keep. It takes a lot of work and hassle. And mentality-wise, it can really do you in on do a big number. But we'll have to see what we can do here, because Dewey can't play as defensive as he could have done before, but he can if he gets the first couple frags and keeps control of the LG and Mega. That will be slightly different. So we'll have to see what we could do here. But even with Sib, he did play that well. He did the right things as he needed to do with Clutch. It just didn't have sometimes the weaponry in his arsenal. Sometimes the the map positioning was just a little bit off. But I think this is more of Sib's playground here. If he wants to try and come back, this is probably the map to do it here.
Yeah, this is definitely an environment where he can excel. And let's find out if he will be able to, or if he is going to basically get completely shut down once again. We are in and underway with Sib versus Dewey. Second map in the series here on Corrupted Keep. Dewey, he's on the Anarchy, and already he's starting to go at a trailblazing pace into the game. Both of them fighting over in the Mega Room. Sib stationed behind the statue, trapped in position. Dewey brings out the lightning gun for a little bit of a fright before he spams out the nails and retreats to recover himself a rocket.
This is the kind of style I expected going into this. It's more Dewey's trying to find exactly what's going on, but it doesn't matter anyway. The inject comes in, but I don't think he's going to get taken down, even though Sib has the stack. But the chase is definitely on. But as I say that, Dewey picks up the Mega. Both LGs come out with a nice rocket, but it isn't enough as Sib, nice clean kill by him, will try and refill on that LG. But may try and catch him off guard again, which he has done. But Dewey is just on a slim of health, but it doesn't matter. Sib managed to take it away once more, as now Sib is up 2-0 in the lead.
Great start for Sib. Oh, and an even
goodness.
better follow-up frag. Oh my goodness, Harry. The dire orb going straight through him as he's going to get the tele frag to secure himself a third. Restocks himself as well, back up. This is madness. Sib, he is woken up quickly.
That was an almost perfect orb there as well. And Sib is trying to make matters worse, but Dewey finally gets the first frag on the board after all that palaver he had to deal with for the last minute and a bit. But now knows Sib exactly where he is. He's going to try and catch him off guard straight away, but goes for the portal. But Dewey knows exactly what he's up to. Gets to heavy, and this is where Sib cannot let him get carried away. But at least he gets the Mega to give himself a little bit of comfort zone. But he's going to get the LG. He's going to try and get away if he can, which he has done. He's going to try and replenish some of the HP. But Dewey isn't in the best spot of his own either. As Dewey's heard him out. Knows exactly what he's up to. He predicted him to go further into the rockets, into the ramp. Decided not to in the end, but he's decided to prioritise the heavy as well as that exchange. But the heavy comes through, managed to pick it up, and he is on the hunt. This is where Sib needs to seriously be careful. He's been caught off guard there and taken down and equalised to 3-3 all.
Ooh, Dewey. Ready for the push coming around as he zigzags. Looking to punish this HMG. He's connecting so many shots. Sib got away on 1 HP, but he didn't get away for long. He barely got out of the trap before Dewey was able to track him down and again put him to bed. A big follow-up frag coming through from the Anarchy now, Harry. 3 minutes in, and it's a 1 frag lead for Dewey. He's looking to try and make that a 2 frag lead as he drops down with a rocket, pops the injection to keep himself alive, and now it's a matter of escape. Oh, Sib!
Okay, that was good. That was good. I wasn't expecting him to be able to survive too much longer, but yeah, you are right though. That inject did save his backside, but it doesn't matter anyway. It got taken down, and that flank from Sib couldn't have gone any better for him. So Sib manages to tie things up, but then again has managed to restack nicely. Just to keep himself on par with DUEL, as he has the info that he requires. But at least he has the height advantage, knows exactly what he's up to, what he's doing. And this is the thing about being top mid on Corrupted Keep. You can hear almost everything, no matter what angle and where they could be coming from. So it's very hard to be on the back foot. But Sib tries to get the orb. So for the time being, doesn't really get many shots off with the tri-bolt, but managed to keep the top mid control anyway as he goes for that heavy. But look at the stack of Sib so far. It's just a matter of how and when to try and at least clean DUEL off. But it looks like it won't be for now. Sib is just keeping his composure.
Sib eliminated by DUEL there, as he'll be able to overthrow him quite nicely. Begins to back up a little bit though as the chase begins once again. He wants the Mega and he will be able to claim it. This should mean that Sib will dart himself over towards the heavy, which he will. DUEL firing out these warning shots but not really getting much of a connection across. No one really giving him a grand opportunity into the game just yet. But it won't matter. As long as he can just waste time, that'll be another benefit in the fact he currently has that one frag lead. This is a style of play that he normally tends to don. And it seems to be working for him right now. Just keeping his distance, poking and prodding where necessary, and just playing for control of the major items.
Doing that, just keeping him at bay between the rocks and the heavy, just giving him not really much motive to be able to push out, but the heavy machine gun fight does come in, but DUEL is the weaker player, but which is how much does Sib know that, but it doesn't matter anyway. That heavy and the Mega are both coming up very shortly, and this like they both will be dueling for that Mega, but instead Sib backs up for the time being. Sib doesn't have the better stack for the time being, but gets the heavy anyway. That's definitely going to help out. The orb just barely miss and goes right into DUEL's hands.
DUEL out of ammunition on the rockets. 24 lightning bolts left to work with as well. He gets a few of them off, tagging him up ever so slightly as he begins to chase him around, sending him packing as he sprints clean out of there. He's still got a 2-frag lead. He's given him an opportunity to replenish the ammunition for the LG as well. So hopefully with that will come in handy. Time is ticking away now. There's 4 minutes left into the game. DUEL has got himself his injection to play with once again. This time he has to concede control of the Mega at least.
Right, that's come in. DUEL is playing passive for the time being. He's going to make sure.
Juice it up, baby.
Sib doesn't have a chance to come inside there, but it doesn't matter. He's going to try and do as much damage to him before he picks up that heavy. The heavy's up in 3 seconds, and it looks like Sib's actually got away from it. He's decided to come back anyway. It might be a little bit too late, and the trade comes in. Who's going to get the spawn, though? That's the question. Is Sib will be going straight for the heavy? And I think, yeah, DUEL does realise and decides to go for that Mega. But even then, look at the stack of Sib. He's definitely in a great spot to make a counter attack here. But it looks like he's just going to bide his time for now. Get the LG, get the heavy, just to make sure that he's got everything in his arsenal to make the approach. But is he going to be able to survive? It doesn't look like it, and DUEL must have cleaned him up nicely, and now increasing it to 8-5. Sid needs to be careful here. He's only got 3 minutes left remaining to get something going.
Flying around the map once again. He gets the rocket off. Ooh, the dire orb initiation, just as we see the orb being popped. But it won't matter. That injection does not save him. And he does go down. 2 frags left for Sib here to be able to equalize the scoreline. The ball is in his court now. But how will he opt to play it? That is going to be the key question. The major items are back up. He's made his move. And DUEL has made his choice. Both of them splitting a major item apiece. Sib firing out the warning shots from the tri-bolt. Big connections though. He's stripping DUEL with a fair bit of his stack. Has a rough read on where he's going to be. Perfect movement around this. But he has to get these shots off soon. He's giving DUEL too much distance once again. Sure, he knows where he is, Harry, but you can't quite catch up with him to be able to strike.
Yeah, this is the problem with Anarchy. With the speed and agility he has, it's extremely difficult to try and pincer him into a corner. The only way he can do it is maybe go top mid and keep him at bay if he gets caught off guard at LG. But even then, he's got to have the stack to do it. And Dewey's just making sure of that, as he will be trying to get away again. But lovely rocket there from Dewey just to keep it back a little bit further. But you are right, though. It will be cat and mouse here, leading up to the last minute of this game. Is Sib still trying to catch him? But yes, he does. He only needs one more frag now to tie things up.
It's incredibly doable as well. 60 seconds left. It could be so winnable for him. But what is he going to do? What is his key to victory in this one as he listens? Playing for the sound cues. 12 damage done with a super shotgun. That's not going to be enough to really get him going into this. And there's 10 seconds roughly until we have that mega coming up as well. Dewey is close to it. This might be the last rotation of major items we see. If they want to dilly-dally for a sec, they could both take a major item apiece and then begin the fight. Heavy picked up. Dewey darting his way over. He tried to catch him off guard with a dire rule, trying to get ahead of him, but he couldn't pull it off, Harry.
Oh my goodness, this is the last thing you want, but he's still got 25 seconds. He has a little bit of time to at least make something happen here. If he gets the light as well, that'd be huge. But he didn't expect him there. He's caught him off guard a little bit, but is it enough? No, it's not. Dewey was on 18 HP. And that's possibly going to finalise things now, as Sib will be waiting for his life to try and at least find him, but it's just going to be too little too late. That was such a shame. 18 HP left for Dewey in that last bout to take it to sudden death, but it will be Dewey once again taking another map.
Man, it's wild. They always seem to end in this fashion at the last second. Dewey, another game secured. This one at least a lot closer. We saw a lot more of the Sib that we know and love, and obviously we've seen in the past with his play style there, because he looked so damn quiet on Veil. At least here it was a bit better.
Yeah, 600 damage between the two, and I think we expected this to be a much closer game. You saw earlier that it's a bit more difficult for Sib to try and execute some of the things, the shenanigans he tried to normally do, but it just wasn't to be. Corrupt to keep. Dewey, for him, there wasn't really too much for him to go in terms of not hiding, but like just playing passive and just holding key areas of the map. But with the Anarchy, you could do that nicely. Like, as long as you've got the speed and the ability to actually do it, you should be perfectly fine. And he abused it down to a T. And the inject saved him a couple of times as well. And don't get me wrong, Sib had some great orbs as well, just to try and corner him off or try and fake some situations out. But it just wasn't to be, you know. There was a couple of orbs which were just barely missed. And I think he's going to be kicking himself a little bit, knowing that Dewey was only on 18 HP in that final bout.
You'd think so. You'd think so. The frustration will definitely be there. It's a rough one. And now we get dragged on to the third and final map over on Awoken. Strogan Pika coming out for Sib. It's an interesting one. Obviously, that is the champion that he's normally quite proficient with, and he is more than happy to play, where his opponent is busting out the Athena. Dewey is going to be rocking himself into battle with those grappling hooks. On Awoken, both of them have their strengths and weaknesses. Again, it's going to be a lot more of a scrap here. Definitely one of the smaller maps of the pool, has a lot more potential for just an all-out constant duel. So gun skill is going to be the big question this one.
Yeah, I expect to see Dewey make some plays, for example, not just hiding top mid, but he'll be looking out for the cues, trying to get the first shot in every single time. Sib is the sort of person where he'll be trying to flank around to try and initiate those movements. But that's going to be the key question for him as we go into this last map. But can Sib at least scrape a map? It's hard to tell. I think that was more his chance in the last map. He's probably maybe lost a little bit of motivation. But he definitely had the opportunity, especially after what we saw from that last game, to at least make something happen at this point. But Sib already has the stack necessary, and the first fight already comes in, and Dewey is only on 13 HP, just barely managing to survive. Pika comes through, nothing too much to say about that, as he will be pushed through, flanked around, but I don't know how he's still alive at this point. 5 HP, the rail gets missed. Surely, yeah, Sib will finally clean up. Took a little bit of effort, a little bit of time, but Dewey is definitely making it hard for him as the second fight comes in and Dewey trades off nicely.
Goodness, yeah, it certainly did take its time already. The opening frags coming through. A frag apiece. It is just sheer madness with the way that it's gone. again, both of them dropped startlingly low. The Pika play tried to come out as the get out of jail free card there for Sib, but it didn't quite work out. DUEL will respond with a couple of tags of his own. They've barely been able to scrimp and scram to get themselves a minute amount of HP back in their favor. Rocket and LG located for Sib, firing them off one after another, but none of them are connecting. They're just giving opportunities for DUEL to initiate and close the gap, which he will.
DUEL has restacked, so he can take another fight if necessary, but he wants him to go through the telly to at least get some kind of stack advantage. But looks like Sib will be having none of it at this moment in time. But as I say that, it gets the first one off, so Sib is only a little bit on the back foot, but it still has the health stack, shall we say, to at least go for that heavy. But first round from DUEL. He's going to go for the second. He's going to go for the rocks anyway. And DUEL cleans things up nicely. Restacks once more with the Mega. Sib's having a few issues here and there. Just struggling to get going in either of these maps.
Yeah, just hasn't been able to find himself into a position to really be able to drag it out, get himself another victory under his belt here in these. Oh, barely getting that frag, but we'll be able to clutch it out to at least make it a 3-2 split on the scoreline. Repositions back over by the Mega as well, so he is going to nourish himself and replenish that HP pool back up to a maximum. Firing off warning shots there with the LG as well, but it's the tribal we need to be focusing on. Oh my goodness, the quick switch as well as he spins around and cuts DUEL down.
That looked like a little bit of disrespect there from Sib, I think. I'm not really too sure with that last rocket. It might be just me, but I'm pretty sure it was. As Sib now is going to try and corner him off. So Sib, at the moment, just chilling on the Mega, making sure he cannot get any of that top mid control prior. He knows he's going for the light, so that's going to be the first time Sib, well, I'll say the second time, considering the start was so quick, to get that lead once more, and just barely survived on a slimmer of health. But he has to be careful on his next move, because DUEL is going to be after blood, especially after that last fight.
Rockets whizzing all over the place, trading blow for blow. LG is going to come through and be able to slice and dice down DUEL, eliminating him. Sib firing off a little bit more as well. Can't quite get these connections across. He's not being able to punish and do enough damage to really walk away with this one just yet. Oh. These shots are absolutely punishing right now. Both of them chunking one after another. The rails are simply stripping the opposition's health quite miraculously.
And Sib just taking his time for now, just holding this half of the map to the Rockets and the LGs, just to know that he's trying and trick DUEL from moving away from top mid. But at least he keeps that heavy control. That's the main thing. He's just delaying it just a little bit, but I think DUEL may have heard that anyway with the cues he was hearing on top mid. But so far, so good. Sib keeping control nicely, but he's still being the aggressor, still trying to figure out a way to get round DUEL. Gets the first one. Does he try and get the second one? He just barely misses it. Goes towards the LG rim and is going to try and catch him off guard. And sadly, just switches at the wrong time. But when he gets taken down, he gets the peek out anyway. But no, not to be, as DUEL manages to claw back with another frag.
5-minute warning.
Oh, damn. Ooh. Gets up behind him. Big punishing blow coming through as well. Sib left very low. Not in a great position whatsoever. But luckily, he has been able to get out of there. And DUEL is on the hunt once again. He's firing off these rockets, and he is connecting with them. And they tie it up. 5-5. This game is tight, Harry. It is incredibly back and forth here on Awoken. And it means so much between the both of them as well. DUEL, if he wins this will be a full 3-0 as well. So the extra points he would get would be incredibly big.
And Sib just needs to try and scrape the points. And any points he can, but that is not going to help considering the circumstances. And now Dewey has regained the lead after being 5-3 down, but he could increase it well if he can. That was beautiful. Just needs potentially another frag here to try and at least keep that top mid control and just keep him at bay for the rest of the game. But my goodness, Dewey. Beautiful.
Moves them. Nicely done, as he will be able to take another man down. That is Sib falling once more. And already from a game that was so close, this is quickly barreled out of control and snowballed into the DUEL show, as it's now a 9-4 split. And that gap does not seem to be getting any slimmer. It just seems to be getting bigger and bigger as the minutes go by.
Yeah, Sib is just trying to make anything happen at this point. It's been very hard work for him, and he really needs to now. He's only got 3 minutes left on the clock and needs to try and get 5 frags during that course. But it's going to be it's a big ask, a tall ask, maybe a tall order, shall I say. And now Dewey just playing his usual game with the Athena to at least get the agility going, but it's got a few nice rockets there. The LG comes through and tries to get that first rare. Is going to make another attempt. Misses the second one, misses the third. And it's just waiting for him, daring him to come down here. But the rails have to hit at some stage, but it decides to fall off anyway. Just making matters worse, and Dewey is having a field day right now.
Oh, man. Dewey's literally just shoved him off the edge. Oh, that is absolutely disgusting. He's not respecting personal space there whatsoever. Ooh, putting himself up back onto the elevated angle as well. Going to be cut down finally, but the worrying factor is I think it's too late for this to be the most miraculous comeback we've seen. The Sib is really struggling here, being able to at least get some damage off, but again, he goes down, Harry. Maybe there was an opportunity there if he would have changed all of those frags together. Instead, now it's a 5-11 split once more. Dewey's back in the driving seat firmly, like he will walk away as the series victor.
Yeah, that could have been a completely different story, but look at this. Dewey's just having a laugh right now. Even then, like, if Sib managed to get some of the frags back, he still has to restack and try and keep control of the items, at the same time keeping Dewey away from the weaponry. And it's a big ask, in all fairness, but Dewey must have cleaned up nicely. I think Sib has realised that it's just too little too late. There's nothing really more he can do. Dewey's just on his A game throughout the entire series. Just pretty much had his number. And look at those rails once more. Just absolute filth.
It is just incredibly disgusting.
1
The
minute
thing that
warning.
this man is doing. Oh, Sib. He killed himself, Harry.
Yeah, I think he's realised, no, he's realised the same, and Sib's just having a bit of a banner.
Enough.
Yeah, it's just banner for now, I think, for the rest of the map. He's realised it's too little too late. Anything he can do, he just can't do. The LG's coming through. He's going to get another frag just to make matters worse. Will he finish him off? Yes, he will. Dewey, 15-3. You know, Sib had the right mindset throughout the game, but dare I say it, Dewey's defensive style and the change of styles he made throughout the course of the game was just, you know, unheard of. And Sib couldn't really fight back in any way.
Well, it looks like Dewey, hide and seek world champion 1997, is going to be winning this one, and that will be the final killing blow there. A 16-3 scoreline with Dewey walking away as the winner.
You win.
Interesting state of affairs, but he has absolutely destroyed him throughout that series, Harry. A full 3-0, and that is the way the cookie's going to crumble, with Dewey walking away.
And look at the map presence again with the damage. 2,200 compared to both of these players. I know, don't get me wrong, I know a little bit of that was from Sib. Dilly-dallying, just messing around towards the end. But, you know, I think take that away, that's still a huge number to compare both of these players. But you saw Sib, he did everything he could. When he had that 5-3 lead, that's when you realised, he was trying to keep up the aggression. He was trying to catch him off guard. He had quite a few chances here and there. Dewey missed so many rails at one point, but he was very hot and cold with how his railing was actually happening. For example, there's one moment where he missed 4 when he had top mid control, and he had the patience to actually try and hold him off. And there was other times where there was very acute, unorthodox angles he was trying to get the rails from, and he nailed it every single time. It was balmy, but for now, though, for Dewey, it was definitely more than enough, so to speak. So Sid will have to really go back through those VODs and see exactly where he went wrong.
Yeah, that is true. Maybe look at it as a bit of a benchmark and see what he can adapt going forward. Unfortunate stuff, but that is the way that game is going to be rounded out, and that is the end of that series as well. This is where we move on to the real big spicy ones. The games that Harry highlighted, of course, at the start of the day, Game 6 and Game 7 that are going to be coming up as we move on forward. Game 6, though, Cypher versus Kilson. Rank 11 and rank 2 in the world currently, both of them absolute big dog. Cypher, a legend in his prime. Kilson still trying to prove that he is currently a living legend. Who will be winning that series? Time will tell when we come back in after the break.